We have compassion for those who suffered one loss or the other, and we pray that may the soul of the victims rest in peace.
The judge ordered the suspects to deposit their passports with the court and barred them from granting an interview. The defendants were arrested over the ill-fated children's festive party in December 2024, which claimed the lives of 35 children following the stampede at the Islamic High School, Bashorun, Ibadan. Kehinde Omolosho, NTA News.
Now, the Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the Sudanese Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Shamsuddin Kabashi, visits Wad Madani 2 days after the army recaptured the state capital from the Sudanese paramilitary rapid support forces. Framapangi reports.
The city is a strategic crossroads of supply highways linking several states and has been under RSF control since December 2023. Sudanese paramilitary leader Mohammed Hamdan Daglo said his rapid support forces had lost key Al Jazeera state capital, Wad Madani, as the military and allied armed groups entered the city after more than a year of paramilitary control. Government officials loyal to the army have hailed the recapture of the city, which RSF commander Mohammed Hamdan Daglo vowed to regain. Today we have lost a round. We did not lose the battle, Daglo said, promising victory to his troops. Sudan's army and the RSF have been at war since April 2023, leading to what the UN calls the world's worst displacement crisis and declarations of famine in parts of the northeast African country. The RSF seized Wad Madani in December of that year, displacing hundreds of thousands who had fled from the capital, Khartoum, just north. In a statement earlier on Saturday, the armed forces congratulated the Sudanese people on their forces entering the city of Wad Madani this morning. The Office of Army Allied Government spokesman and Information and Culture Minister Khalid Al-Aisa said the army had liberated the city. A victory in Al Jazeera will be the army's biggest breakthrough since it seized control of the capital's twin city, Omdurman, nearly a year ago. The RSF still holds most of the rest of the central agricultural state, as well as nearly all of Sudan's western Darfur region and swaths of the country's south. The army controls the north and east, as well as part of the capital. Frama Panyi, NTA News.
New Lebanese President Joseph Aoun has begun parliamentary consultations Monday to designate a prime minister tasked with forming a government desperately needed to tackle major challenges in the crisis-hit country. Caretaker Premier Najib Mikati and Nawaf Salam, a favorite of anti-Hezbollah lawmakers who is the presiding judge as the International Court of Justice in The Hague, have emerged as the front runners. The first round of talks ended shortly before midday with 12 independent lawmakers backing Salam, 7 picking Mikati and 2 others choosing neither of them. Aoun met the main parliamentary blocs in the afternoon. The consultations, which is a constitutional requirement, concluded on Monday with President Joseph Aoun picking Nawaf Salam, the presiding judge as the International Court of Justice in The Hague, as Prime Minister, following consultations with lawmakers. The presidency said, and I quote, "The President of the Republic called on Judge Nawaf Salam to task him with forming a government, knowing that he is currently abroad. It has been decided he will return tomorrow." End of quote. The Eastern Mediterranean nation had been without a president since October 2022, run by a caretaker government amid a crushing economic crisis compounded by an all-out war between Lebanese militant group Hezbollah and Israel. More than 1 million members of an influential group gathered in the Philippine capital on Monday, police said, opposing steps to unseat Vice President Sara Duterte. Pramapangi reports.
Crowd wearing white shirts flocked to Manila's Quirino grandstand for the National Rally for Peace, organized by the conservative Iglesia Ni Cristo, INC. The powerful group opposes moves to impeach Duterte, a former ally of President Ferdinand Marcos, in the House of Representatives. There are many more things which our citizens need that must be attended to. These will not be achieved if all we see taking place is conflict, the group spokesman Edwin Zabala said ahead of the rally. Schools, government offices and major roads were closed for the event as police estimated 1.6 million people had gathered at the grandstand. John Carlo Gingab, who traveled 155 kilometers from his home in Talak province to attend the rally, waved the banner that read, "Put the country first, not the disagreements." Lawmaker Rodante Makoleta and Duterte allies said in his speech that ousting the vice president can only cause political divides that could harm the nation. If a country is divided, it is the people who will suffer, Makoleta said, garnering applause from the audience. More than 5,000 officers were deployed to secure the rally, and mobile phone signals were blocked to prevent explosives from being detonated remotely, regional police spokesman Mainara Diploma told newsmen. Duterte is facing 3 impeachment cases, accusing her of misusing millions of dollars in public funds and of plotting to have Marcos assassinated. She has denied the allegations. Marcos's executive secretary, Lucas Bersamin, described Monday's rally as part of national conservation. Duterte thanked members of the group for their persistence to bring understanding and unity among the Filipino people. This rally is a powerful testament of unity and faith with the intention to bring peace for the progress of the country, she said in a statement. The group, which is estimated to have more than 2 million members, carries significant weight in the Philippines because its members tend to vote as a bloc and it is often courted by politicians. The group could decide the outcome of closely contested congressional and local government posts in midterm elections on May 12. Frama Pani, NTA News.
Landslides caused by torrential rains in southeast Brazil have left at least 10 people dead, rescue services have announced. 9 people died in the city of Ipatinga, where 80 millimeters of rain fell in the space of 1 hour, according to the mayor's office. Firefighters pulled the body of an 8-year-old boy from the rubble of a house destroyed by a landslide. Another landslide swept away everything in its path along a street on the side of a hill in the city's Bethania neighborhood. Images from the scene showed rubble from the houses poking up from the mud. 1 person from the area remained missing, though 4 members of the person's family were rescued. A body was also found in the nearby town of Santana do Paraíso. Minas Gerais State Governor Romeo Zema sent a message of solidarity with the victims in a statement on social media. Latin America's biggest country has been rocked by several extreme weather events over the past 1 year. Massive floods caused by days of record-breaking rain killed more than 180 people in the south of the country in April and May last year. Brazil also suffered a historic drought linked to climate change, laying the ground for the worst wildfires in 17 years, which consumed vast chunks of the Amazon rainforest. Following the recent emergence of a new COVID-19 variant in China and subsequent international concerns over the spread of the deadly virus, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has convened a strategic stakeholders meeting to discuss the preparedness, response plans, and proactive measures to take within Nigeria. Director General of the agency, Zubaida Omar, said all hands must be on deck to proactively curtail the spread in the country. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu reports.
The new variant of COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2 Omicron, has continued to spread globally, thereby bringing about global health emergency. The SARS-CoV-2 Omicron strain was first reported in May 2024. It has been detected in 43 countries across Europe, Asia, and North America. In Africa, Botswana reported 1 case from a hospitalized European traveler. It is currently being monitored by the health authorities in other regions.
Presently, we have our action plans.
These stakeholders meeting, convened by the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is geared towards harmonizing effort to check the spread of the virus in Nigeria. Director General of NEMA, Zubaida Umar, in a message, told the gathering that they must do everything within their powers to prevent past COVID-19 experience that claimed many lives.
While Nigeria is not directly affected at the moment, proactive planning, preparedness, and collaboration are essential to safeguarding our citizens and mitigating any potential risk.
As of 24th September 2024, the World Health Organization (WHO) designated the virus as a variant under monitoring, with rising prevalence in several countries, which warrant a cautious approach and strengthening surveillance in Africa. In Abuja, Ilyasu Aliyakubu, NTA News.
Now, a two-day conference intended to develop a sustainable roadmap for 21st century education in Nigeria is underway in Abuja. It is a collaborative effort of the National Universities Commission and Committee of Directors of Academic Planning of Nigerian Universities. Francis Udojo reports that the conference brings together participants from federal, state and private universities across the country, emphasizing a unified effort to transform the nation's education sector.
The aim of the two-day conference is to exchange ideas between participants, address challenges affecting the education system, and profile solutions that will redefine Nigeria universities in the 21st century for a sustainable future.
Professor Yakubu Aboki Ochefu identifies inadequate funding, poor governance, insufficient infrastructure, and corruption as significant barriers to progress. He challenges stakeholders to view these issues as opportunities to innovate and build capacity within universities. Highlighting the importance of entrepreneurship and technological advancement, he stresses the role of artificial intelligence in overcoming systematic challenges.
The directors of academic planning should take the forefront in engaging with a plethora of stakeholders, including the vice chancellors, to say, in this era of knowledge as a service, in this era of data as an economic resource, as a new oil, we should be able to churn out new ideas that will revitalize our university system.
Going into AI, you can't run away from AI in these days. So he has listed some of the issues to be tackled, and I'm sure the DAPs at the end of the two-day conference will be able to come up with resolutions that will be very impactful to the Nigerian university system. Thank you very much.
It's not everything from government. And that, in a way, affects our graduates. Because when they graduate, they see themselves as somebody who must look for a job. They didn't see why they should be independent, why they should be job creative. That is the main takeaway. And it has to flow from the top down.
We can work with all the things that we have to make sure that Nigerian universities have the opportunities of measuring up to the demands at the global level.
The event aims to provide a sustainable roadmap for redefining university education in Nigeria, ensuring it meets the demands of the 21st century. In Abuja, Francis Udojo, NTA News.
You're watching news at 7 on NTA International from our studios in Abuja. We take some messages. Do stay.
I am Oluremi Tinubu, the global and national Stop TB champion. Many people have asked why I've chosen to champion the fight against a disease like tuberculosis. My reason stems from a deep personal experience. I once had a friend who unfortunately fell ill and concealed the nature of his sickness until it was too late. Eventually, after he passed, we discovered he had tuberculosis. Sadly, due to the stigma and discrimination surrounding the disease, he would not speak up or seek for help. His death was a painful reminder that we could have intervened and saved a life if only we had known earlier. Tuberculosis is an airborne disease that primarily affects the lungs, but can also impact other parts of the body. Being airborne means anyone, regardless of their social economic status, can contract it. In Nigeria, 1 person dies of TB-related illness every 7 minutes, amounting to 206 deaths every day. Globally, 1 person succumbs to TB every 25 seconds, which is a staggering 3,456 lives lost daily. These deaths are entirely preventable because TB is curable if detected and treated early. If you or someone you know has been coughing for 2 weeks or more, coughing up blood, experiencing night sweats, or losing weight drastically, it might be TB. Please visit the nearest government hospital or primary health care center for proper diagnosis and treatment. TB treatment is free in all government and some private health facilities. Let us also remember not to stigmatize or discriminate against TB patients or those who have been treated for TB. Individuals who have been cured of TB cannot infect others. I call on all stakeholders, especially the private sector, to join us in the fight to end TB in Nigeria. Together, we can make a difference. Remember, TB anywhere is TB everywhere. End TB by 2030. Yes, we can.
Thank you for staying. Concerned about the reported incidents of civilian casualties in the recent Nigerian Air Force airstrikes in Zamfara State, the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has dispatched a fact-finding team to Zamfara to fully investigate the incidents and provide a detailed report for further action. A statement by the Director, Public Relations and Information of the Nigerian Air Force, Air Vice Marshal Olushola Kimboiwa, indicates that the team led by the Director of Coordination and Cooperation in the Civil Military Relations Branch of NAF Headquarters, Air Vice Marshal Edward Gapwet, will liaise and interface with state and local government officials as well as all other critical stakeholders for a holistic assessment of the situation to drive the appropriate response. The Chief of the Air Staff wishes to reiterate the NAF's commitments to the highest level of professionalism and transparency in the conduct of operations, in line with appropriate global standards, as the need to maintain public trust is germane to its operational effectiveness. New figures reveal that nearly 49,000 inmates in Nigerian custodial centers are awaiting trial, compounding their challenges across the country. The Acting Controller General of the Corrections Service, Sylvester Ndidi Nwakuche, disclosed this during an interactive session with senior officers. Jehu Muhammad Datti reports.
The meeting, described as interactive, encouraging and promising, aimed to refocus and recalibrate the corrections service for better delivery. According to the Acting Controller General, zero tolerance will be applied to acts compromising the service sanctity, with consideration given to staff and inmates' welfare.
There's no amount that is too small for feeding people that are incarcerated, or too much for at the same time taking care of their stomach. If you want me, I will say 5,000, 10,000, but are they realistic considering budgetary constraint? So for now, we are moving one step at a time.
To address overcrowding, the corrections boss plans to engage state chief executives to expedite trials of over 90% of state offenders in custody. Additionally, the construction of a proposed 3,000 capacity modern custodial facility and other centers nationwide will be fast-tracked. Following the presidential increase in inmates' feeding rates, monitoring teams have been deployed to oversee inmates' welfare, ensuring vulnerable persons in custodial centers receive favorable treatment.
The staff also have their own part to play, in as much as there was a cascading aspect of what happened in the outer society as a concern in security affecting us as a result of external aggression on our facility. The staff will also, the human factor must have to be in place so that some of these lapses, indolences will not be compromised.
The Controller General praised staff resilience amidst challenging conditions, urging them to remain focused as better days lie ahead. In Abuja, Shehu Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
The Minister of Women Affairs, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, is partnering the National Gas Expansion Program to key Nigerian women in the hinterland into using liquefied petroleum gas as clean and healthy source of energy. The minister reached this conclusion after brainstorming with the chairman of the Presidential Committee on LPG, Professor Muhammad Ibrahim, on the health and environmental benefits of clean cooking fuels to women and children. Ngozi Technical reports.
Well over 67% of households in Nigeria are said to depend on biogas, such as firewood and charcoal for cooking, resulting to several hazards on human health and the environment, as women and children are most affected. The chairman of the National Liquefied Petroleum Gas explained that the committee is bringing up innovative strategies to ensure availability of clean cooking gas in every nook and crannies of Nigeria, in addition to educating Nigerians, especially women in rural communities, on why liquefied petroleum gas is the best cooking fuel.
Every woman, wherever she's found on the face of the earth, that uses charcoal, what she is using is what you call carcinogenic. What that means is that every time she uses charcoal, some forms of carbon deposit gets into her lungs. From the lungs, it gets straight into the blood.
I think this is a call to action. We're happy to collaborate with you to see that we achieve the same sort of success stories of clean and safe cooking transition for our women.
That our organization objectives align with your ministry's goal, and we look forward to collaborating with you to drive meaningful change.
Let me assure you of the ministry's unwavering support as we continue to work together to address the challenges faced by our women, our children and families in Nigeria.
The council decorated her as a life member of the NCWS. On assumption of duty, Dr. Miriam Kenshiro, the newly deployed permanent secretary to the ministry, joined the minister in the day's engagements. Ngozi Technical, NTA News.
To make education in Nigeria more practical and less theoretical, the federal government will soon realign policies to address this need. This formed part of the deliberations at a meeting convened by the Ministry of Education with rectors of polytechnics and provosts of colleges of education. Zanret Dingmum reports. We apologize for that. Now, that report is still being packaged. Let's go back to the report that aligns with that film. The federal government is taking decisive steps to have a digitally skilled workforce by 2030. An estimated 35 to 40% of duties will require digital skills to meet up the government through the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITSA, which has launched the Digital Literacy for All program to train civil servants on skills needed to deliver efficient and tech-driven services to citizens. Chimdiman Dubusi reports that over the next 3 days, the first batch of 1,848 civil servants will undergo training on key digital skills, including fundamentals of using digital tools, effective use of computers and mobile devices, creating online content, and digital safety and security.
Every week, at least we'll have about 2,000 civil servants enroll on this platform in partnership with Cisco. Anybody that participates in this program will earn a certificate that is globally recognized. And this will empower all our public servants to be digitally literate.
The expected outcomes are upskilling of our staff to be able to know how to navigate and bring themselves up to speed regarding digital skills, and to be able to have a workforce that will be able to deliver better service for Nigerians.
It is to train 8,000 civil servants per month, aiming to reach the more than 5 million formal workers across both public and private sectors by 2027. This initiative also aligns with the broader goal of achieving 70% digital literacy across Nigeria's population by the same year. And that's all we have for you on the news at this time on NTA International. We thank you for watching. Lami Ali is the name, and John Bamidele is the sign language interpreter. Do have a good evening.